Hey, NFL script generator extraordinaire, Roger Goodell here. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with everyone. You know, the Taylor Swift Devil Magic era in the NFL is over, and now it is time to introduce a new, more powerful supervillain into the league. Behind a great man is a greater one.
All right, all right, all right. Let's get to it. The new football season is almost upon us, and we have some predictions to make for how the season's going to go and how the playoffs are going to go. So, this is obviously in the preseason. I'm making these predictions. Like, of course, if a player gets freaking hurt, that team isn't going to go far. Like if CJ Stroud goes down for the year, the Texans aren't going to be good. So don't go in the comments section saying, "Oh, you predicted the Texans to be good and they went 3-13." Yeah, you failed to mention that CJ Stroud got hurt, right? So let's get into this. I'm going to start with the AFC and work my way to the NFC. Let's start in the East. This is Buffalo Bills country. I don't see any of these other teams standing a chance, really. The Dolphins are just hit and miss, and it depends on Tua's health half the time. And I could see Mike McDaniel getting fired maybe if the Dolphins don't make the playoffs this year. Which, as you can see on the screen, I don't have them there. So, yeah. The Patriots are going to be better. I feel like they will finish 7-10. They are making improvements. Mike Vrabel is there. Drake May is pretty good. I think they'll be decent, but they won't be good enough to have a winning record or nothing. The Jets, I'm predicting to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Justin Fields is their quarterback now. They have a lot of tough matchups on their schedule. I just don't see the Jets doing anything crazy. And I have the Bills getting the number 1 seed. Now, last year I was the biggest Bills hater because I thought it was going to go on a downtrend. I thought the other teams in their division would be better and they would just outright miss the playoffs. And at the start of the season, it did seem that way. But then the Jets ended up revealing themselves as being frauds and not good enough. And Tua Tagovailoa went down from the Dolphins. So that automatically put the Bills as number 1. And yeah, it's not going to change at all. When you have 6 games a year where you play in your division is just not as good as you. You're going to win that division. And I think the Bills are good now. I still think Josh Allen got a fraudulent MVP. But I think they're going to get the number 1 seed this year. They'll finish 14-3. Let's go to the AFC North now. Ravens at 13-4. They'll win the division. Ravens arguably have the best roster in the NFL now. I would make the case that was the Eagles or the Lions last season. But now that we have gone through an offseason, a lot of the Eagles' depth has left. And the Ravens have signed a lot of players. Yeah, I think the Ravens have the best roster this year, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. I have them finishing as the 2nd seed solely because they're going to have one more loss in the Bills, and they'll win that division. I got the Bengals going 11-6. I think the defense will improve from the Bengals. You're not going to get Joe Burrow doing superhuman things and the defense letting you down crazy. I think the Bengals will be better. Good enough to make a playoff spot at 11-6. Even though the Steelers have Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, I just can't bring myself to give the Steelers a losing season anymore. I think we just expect them to win, have a winning record every year now. And it's just going to be crazy. So even though Aaron Rodgers is basically washed and the Steelers defense is aging out basically, and Mike Tomlin's still the coach, you will see a 10-7 season, a playoff berth, and a wildcard exit. Nothing really changes as a Steelers fan. I got the Browns at 6-11. I think they'll be a little bit better than what they were last year, but not by a lot, and they will be nowhere near the playoffs. The Browns are going to Brown, and they won't even finish with the top 5 pick to draft a quarterback. So, but I think Shador Sanders is going to start, and that's actually going to be good for the Browns, but not good enough to beat this division in the AFC. Over to the AFC South, which is the second worst division of the league. The other one's in the NFC. I got the Texans going 10-7 and winning this by default. It's just, I think the Texans are getting better. I think last year was a little bit of an anomaly. They got flagged a lot last year, which is like, whoa, a lot of penalties. And CJ Stroud didn't get to that crazy start he had his rookie year. That definitely impacted things. I think the Texans are going to win the South. Jacksonville is going to be way better than what they were last season, but I don't think they're going to do anything too crazy or get a playoff spot in this AFC. I got them at 9-8. Travis Hunter is going to be fun to watch, and I think more people are going to tune into that, but I think they're just going to be middle of the road. I think Cam Ward and the Titans are going to surprise some people. Not too crazy. There's no playoff berth for Cam Ward and the Titans here, but I think that their 8-9 record is going to show that Cam Ward is a real deal and that he can potentially propel this team to playoff spots in the future and isn't a bust. I think the Titans will go 8-9 and show that, okay, you're improving. Your head coaching hire last season wasn't bad. You're just not good enough to make a playoffs. I have the Indianapolis Colts bottoming out. I am the biggest Colts hater this season. I just don't think that team is good enough to beat their division or the other matchups they have. I had them at 2-15 and tied with another team that I will talk about later for the first pick in the draft. And it's fitting that I think Archie Manning probably comes out of the draft next year. And the Colts will go 2-15. I just think they're going to be one of the worst teams. They're going to be boring. Anthony Richardson's just going to flop. It's going to be horrible. And yeah, you're going to wish that you didn't sign up to watch the Colts. Over at the West, I got a shake-up. I got the Chargers winning the division, going 12-5. I think last year with Harbaugh's first year, you saw a lot of the changes and improvement. That Chargers defense was really good. It's just the offense really couldn't get that much going. Granted, you did have to face the Chiefs and the Broncos, which had good defenses, but still, I think that changes this year. Ladd McConkey, I'm expecting to have a big leap and to really get going. And I think Justin Herbert's going to be unlocked a little bit. I think we're going to start seeing the deep ball being thrown a lot more from Justin Herbert, which is something that's been missing for like the last couple of years. I don't know why you take someone like Justin Herbert and make him just throw short routes crazy, but that's what the Chargers have been doing for the last couple of years. But I think that changes this year. The Chiefs are going to go 10-7. I am picking a down year for the Chiefs this year. That Super Bowl loss to the Eagles when they got absolutely destroyed and demolished and was my favorite freaking game ever to watch. That showed you how weak the Chiefs really are, and the fact that some of their key pieces left this season and they really didn't sign anybody that impactful is going to show. Now, you do have a good receiving core coming in with Patrick Mahomes, but I just don't see the Chiefs being able to beat some of these teams. Like, every team in their division got better, and their schedule, the teams they have to face throughout the year, got better. So I just don't see the Chiefs winning this division this year. I think they're going to get a wild card berth because they are the Chiefs. You still have to worry about them, but I just do not see them going far this year. I think it's a down year for Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle the season. I'm predicting 10-7, the wild card spot, and it will be the first year that you see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs not make a deep playoff run. Raiders got Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a really good head coach. I think that along with their additions and players like Gentry and just Brock Bowers being the best tight end in the NFL last season, carrying that over to this season. with Geno Smith, who's a better quarterback than what they had last season, is going to propel them to some wins. I got them at 9-8. I don't have them making the playoffs, but that's a significant improvement from last season. I got the Broncos take a little bit step back. They're gonna go 9-8. Not saying that their team is bad. I think they're gonna have one of the best defenses in the league still, and Bo Nix is going to keep developing. It's just they don't have like some of the great elite weapons that all the other teams have at receiving and running back. So I think that's gonna really hold them back. And I see the Broncos just be middle of the road again, 9-8. Not making a playoff spot, but giving the team some tough losses. So playoff bracket I have the Bills at number 1, the Ravens at number 2, Chargers at number 3, Texans at number 4, the Chiefs at number 7, Steelers at number 6, and Bengals at number 5. Those are going to be your playoff teams for the AFC. Now going over to the NFC, this one's a little bit interesting. Let's start with my Philadelphia Eagles, your reigning, defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, who will open the season against the Dallas Cowboys at home for a ring ceremony where they will run the shit out the ball and absolutely destroy them. They're going to win the division. They're going to be the first back-to-back division champion in this division in probably 10, 11 years. They're going to go 13-4. It's going to be crazy. The schedule is really difficult. If the schedule wasn't as difficult, I would have given them more wins. It's just that schedule is hard, but our team is really good. I expect us to have a top 3 defense and a top 3 offense this season. It's going to be a magical season, and there's so many good games on the schedule this year that it's going to be awesome. I expect the Washington Commanders to take a step back and go to 9-8. They'll still make the playoffs, but it's going to be more losses. Terry McLaurin wants a trade. A couple other guys left. They did improve the roster a little bit in other areas, but I think a lot of the wins last season came from their offense really, really good and efficient, and their defense not being able to stop people. And they caught a lot of lucky breaks early. I think they were 7-2 at one point, and then they started losing some games. I don't think they're going to catch those breaks this season. They're going to go 9-8. As for the Dallas Cowboys, that America's Team documentary isn't going to help your team and boost your team and boost Brian Schottenheimer to coach an elite team and win the NFCs. No way. You guys are going to go 8-9, how you went last season. I think that's what they finished last season. You're going to repeat that again. And you're going to probably pay Micah Parsons a shit ton of money he does not deserve. And just as long as Jerry Jones is still the manager, the general manager, and running things in Dallas, and as long as you can take the Dallas Cowboys facilities tour and watch the players work out on an everyday basis through glass panels, yeah, this team's not going to freaking do anything. It's special. Your ceiling as a Dallas Cowboys organization is the second round. That's it. A loss in the second round to the 49ers or a loss in the wildcard game to the Packers is your ceiling with this current core. I do think they have really good receivers. I think they have a solid thing, but the defense is still trash, and that's what's going to cost them. But they're the Cowboys. They're going to beat up on some bad teams, so 8-9 sounds accurate. The New York Giants, I got them going 4-13. Again, the schedule's difficult for this division this year. They made some changes, but they're not really that great. They have 3 solid quarterbacks. They draft Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, people like that. But I think eventually it's just going to be not good enough. 4-13, top 5 pick again. You keep improving, I guess. The NFC North. Last year, the NFC North was the monster conference, the monster division, the division everyone thought, oh my God, all these teams are good. And then the Bears started losing some games, so you were left with 3. I think this year, this division is going to take a couple steps back. Again, the teams got better, but their schedule also got harder. I got the Lions winning this by going 12-5. Again, the schedule's tougher. The Lions have 2 new coordinators now. They still have all their talent, and Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. But they have new coordinators now. That definitely has to affect them. So I got them going 12-5. For the Vikings, I have them going 9-8. JJ McCarthy's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be like as effective as Sam Darnold was last season. And that defense, I think, is going to take a step back. So I got them going 9-8. I got the Bears improving heavily, but not too much because of their schedule. A lot of people don't believe in the Bears, don't believe in Caleb, thinks he's a bust. I disagree. I think Caleb's team was made to awful last season, and he had no offensive line. And if you're watching carefully, they had a stretch of like 3 divisional games in a row where they only lost by 1 score. That realistically, if they win those games, they have a shot at a playoff spot. So I think something similar is going to happen, but it's not going to be good enough to really go anywhere. I think 8-9 is good. Good progression. Good first year for Ben Johnson. I think they're going to make more solid additions to the roster for next year. But I think it's going to be a solid year. And I'm picking the Packers to be the team that takes a step back. I picked them at 6-11. The youth is finally going to catch up to this team, and I do not, with the schedule and their division, I don't see them getting a winning record. I think this will be Matt LaFleur's first losing season, and I think it's going to be, some fans are going to be shell-shocked. Tom Grossi's going to be shell-shocked, but I think it was a long time coming, and I think this year you're going to see that happen finally. Over in the NFC South, this is the worst division in football for the last 3 years. It will be the worst division again. The Buccaneers will win this by default, going 9-8, just like they've won in like the last 3 years. Yeah, they're gonna win by default. Baker Mayfield's good. Mike Evans is guaranteed 1,000-yard receiver. They got some new signings. It's pretty good. They're gonna win by default. I got the Panthers taking a huge leap from last season. I think the Bryce Young is a bust conversation is gonna end this season. They're not gonna be good enough because they don't have the talent to beat the teams on their schedule, but they are going to be good enough to get a 7-10 record. They're going to show improvement, and Canales is going to prove himself to be a good head coach. I got the Falcons taking a step back. This has to do with Michael Penix and the coaching. I don't think Michael Penix is going to be that great to come off the box, and I just think that it's going to be a shit show for the Falcons, and they're going to find themselves back up at the top of the draft again. And this might result in Kirk Cousins get cut eventually, the coach getting fired. I see the Falcons head coaching position being open after this season. And the Saints are going to be the worst team in the NFL besides the Colts. Again, they were capped strong to hell because they kept trying to push money out during the Drew Brees final years. And now it's finally catching up to them. They don't have a quarterback. They're going to have to just shed off the cap this year and just stroll out just complete rosters. Kellen Moore isn't going to get fired his first year. Kellen Moore stepping into one of the worst situations in football. Nobody wanted to coach this fucking team. He just was the one that they finally decided to take the job. I just don't see him succeeding with this roster. And that's interesting. Colts and Saints are 2 teams that are probably in line for Archie Manning. That's awesome. Coincidence. They will be a bye week every week. Over in the West, this is the team that I picked to have the number 1 seed. This is the team that I picked to shock everybody this season. I got the 49ers at 15-2. The 49ers always have these seasons where they get hurt and then they have a losing record. They miss the playoffs, and the next year when everyone comes back healthy, all of a sudden they're destroying the league. You're going to see Brock Purdy drop those 300-yard, 3-touchdown games consistently again. I feel like they're just going to run through the league this season, go 15-2. Everyone's counting them out. No one's giving them a chance. This is the chance right here. And a quick prediction for MVP in here. I think Brock Purdy is going to win the MVP after this 15-2 showing. Next up, we got the Rams. The Rams are a solid team. Matthew Stafford's getting old, but they're, Sean McVay's a good coach, so I got them at 10-7 and making the playoffs. The Seahawks are going to take a step back. It's not going to be a massive step back, but they're still going to take a step back. They lost DK Metcalf. They traded away Geno Smith. Sam Darnold, again, I think the Seahawks are just going to take a step back. And so are the Cardinals. And I think Jonathan Gannon will get fired this season after the Cardinals go 6-11. Or they're just going to try to get rid of Kyler Murray. It just depends on how it turns out. That leaves the playoff bracket here for the NFC. I got the Niners at 1, the Eagles at 2, the Lions at 3, the Bucks at 4, the Rams at 5, the Vikings at 6, and the Washington Commanders at 7. All right, it's time to talk about the playoffs. What do I think the playoffs is going to be? As you clearly see on your screen, this is what it's going to be. Let's start over in the AFC real quick rundown. The Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs in the wildcard game. Yes, the Chiefs will finally take a loss in the wildcard game in the Patrick Mahomes era. And this is the step back that I said they were going to take early on. Chargers will defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers are a perennial first-round exit. Justin Herbert gets his first win. The Bengals are going to go into the Texans' house and tear their shit up and win their first-round matchup. And in the next round, I got the Bills beating the Bengals at home and the Ravens beating the Chargers at home. And the AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Ravens, I got the Bills winning. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's going to finally break through. And who's the opponent going to be? Let's find out on the right side. I got the Eagles beating the Commanders. That's going to be a crazy wild card game. It's going to be a rematch from last year's NFC Championship game, but I got the Eagles winning. I got the Lions beating the Vikings. I just don't think the Vikings are good enough to beat this Lions team. I got the Rams upsetting the Buccaneers in their stadium in the playoffs. And then we got the Rams versus the 49ers. I think the Niners are going to win this game. I don't think they lose this game in Santa Clara after going 15-2. And I got the Lions losing to the Eagles in Lincoln Financial Field. And finally, I got the Eagles getting the upset over the 49ers in Santa Clara. This is the rematch that we've been waiting for a couple years now. If you remember the NFC Championship game a couple years ago, the 49ers had no quarterback, so they lost that game by default. The last 2 years, these teams have not been able to match up in the NFC Championship game because either we've sucked or the 49ers didn't make the playoffs. There's no excuses now. I think we'll win this game and go to the Super Bowl, and we're going to beat Josh Allen in the Super Bowl. The Eagles will become back-to-back Super Bowl champions. A new supervillain team will be created that the league wants to generate ratings for. Everyone already hates Philly by default for some reason. So now, not only do we have, I think this point is the second most toxic fan base in the NFL. Once we win back-to-back championships, we will have the most toxic fan base in the NFL, the most hated team in the NFL, and the rest will start giving us more calls, which will cause everybody to hate us even more. And if you hated the Chiefs dynasty for the last couple of years, you're going to hate this Eagles dynasty even more because for the simple fact that we're talented, we're really good, it's unfair, and we're set up for the future with draft picks and cap room because we have the best GM in the NFL. So yeah, my prediction for the 2025-2026 season is that the Eagles win the Super Bowl, become the supervillains of the league, and establish and start their next dynasty of the late 2020s.